Hi everybody, it's March 3rd, 2026. What we often find is that those of us that kind of see the patterns around us, we see the kind of messaging that we get, we see that certain things are the way they are to kind of fish or to attract a response from us that is more conducive or more appropriate for the system that it regards. So for example, there's a lot of talk about consumer culture in the USA. And if you look at things objectively, you can see how we are daily being conditioned to be consumers. And so when you see these patterns around you, you wonder, are you avoiding them? Or wonder if you can avoid them? Are you wondering, do they actually have any net result on the enjoyment you get from your life? And I could say that if you can't see the effects, if you can't really quantize the is that how you say quantize or quantize the net results in any kind of precise way. This is why people say have faith in God, have faith in the Lord, because the things that you can't see that you know are there and you can't really determine what effect they're having on you, if you have faith in your God, if you have faith in God, I believe He corrects your path. And being a citizen of this earth, there are certain things that we can't escape from on our own. But having faith in God will guide your life into something tantamount to having kind of agency over your own life within the highest degree that is possible. And that could be total freedom in the spiritual realm, total freedom in the spiritual aspect. So this gets me to thinking about antagonizing yourself until you get a result. And this is kind of a clear and straightforward, mostly concept, is that first I could say is that if you are having doubts about something, if you continue to throw argument after your assumptions, after all your assumptions that arise, if you argue them down and disprove them all, and then by the end, what usually happens with me is when I disprove all my arguments that I throw at myself, I run out of meat to attack the subject with, and it usually ends in a stalemate. And what happens when you get to the stalemate of disproving all your arguments, you're going to be left wanting. You're going to be left kind of on a cliffhanger. You want answers, but the more you argue with yourself, you can't really produce any pressing or appropriate answers. So when you come to this stalemate, what I've learned is that you just accept it. You know, you want answers. You want this to be concluded. You want this problem to go away. You want to attain this new thing. But if you can't really find a mental grasp or argument that wins against yourself, that doesn't mean you lost. It just may mean the argument is meaningless in the first place, or it just may mean that you just need to go ahead and do it. And if you don't think you should go ahead and do whatever you were arguing about, then just forget about it and don't do it. Make a choice at the end, but give yourself time. And antagonizing yourself into result could look also like there are certain things that we do that we know are wrong, but there's no one around inside of our mind that can see inside of our mind and see inside of our heart to tell us that it's wrong, but we know it's wrong. So how I antagonize myself with this is that I just keep on presenting the truth to myself. If I'm being rude, if I'm being mean, if I'm being selfish, I continue to say, Victor, you know this is wrong, you just don't want to deal with it, you just want to have your way. And then I'll come up with an argument, but I know that I'm lying to myself. and I keep on presenting the truth to myself until I submit to the idea that yes, I am in the wrong. No, I'm not in the wrong as a person, but I'm in the wrong in this situation, and that is possible. I may have clarity in my viewpoint. I may have the ability to argue anything, but I know that in this instance I'm wrong. So if you know that you are wrong, keep presenting yourself the truth and wait for yourself to accept it and to take the right action. And the last thing I could say about antagonizing myself into a result is sometimes the best thing to do is to give yourself grace, is to give yourself the benefit of the doubt. So what may seem counterintuitive is you keep on arguing why you shouldn't give yourself the benefit of the doubt. And if you can see how uncaring it seems that you are being to yourself, if you can see how hard you are being on yourself, if you are seeing how unnecessarily draconian you are being on yourself, then you have to get to the point where you say, okay, I know that I want to be more, I want to be great, I want to do great things, I want to accomplish a lot. But in this instance, it's time for me to heal. It's time for me to get my thoughts together and give myself time. So it may seem counterintuitive, but you have to present yourself with your hardest, most unforgiving arguments so that you can open your eyes to see that you deserve the respite that you are due. So I hope this helps. Thanks.